There once was a young leopard who longed to be strong, not just strong of body, but strong of spirit. He wanted to be unshakable, wise, and calm like his master. One morning, as golden light filtered through the trees, he asked,
"Master, how do I become strong inside, like you? When the world shakes you, you still seem steady. I want to learn that."
The old Zen master smiled, his eyes warm and knowing. He didn't speak at first, but handed the leopard a small wooden bucket.
Strength doesn't begin with answers. It begins with a rhythm, a return, a task done with presence.
Then he turned toward the mountain.
"Come, walk with me."
And so the leopard followed, up a narrow path lined with stone and moss. At the top, a small spring shimmered quietly.
"Fill the bucket."
And he did.
"Now, carry it down."
The days became weeks. Each morning, the leopard climbed up. Each afternoon, he carried the water down. No lessons, no praise, just the same path, the same silence. At first, he tried to stay focused, but slowly, doubt crept in. One day, exhausted and overwhelmed, he slipped. The bucket hit the ground. Water spilled across the path, and the leopard sank to his knees, eyes brimming with tears.
"This isn't what I asked for. I wanted to grow stronger, not carry water like a servant."
He looked up at the master.
"You haven't taught me anything."
The master stood silently nearby, hands folded, heart open, not scolding, not fixing, just witnessing. That evening, they sat together at the edge of a rock ledge. The forest stretched out below, bathed in golden light. The leopard stared into the distance.
"Maybe I'm just not made for this. I thought strength would feel different, bigger, braver."
The master looked at him gently and asked,
"Do you remember your first climb?"
"Yes, my paws hurt. I spilled the water. I thought I'd never make it."
"And today?"
The leopard paused.
"I didn't stop once. My breathing was calm. Even the bucket felt lighter."
The master smiled.
"You thought you were just carrying water, but you were also carrying frustration, fear, ego. Each step stripped some of it away."
He touched the bucket lightly.
"Discipline is not a lesson, it's a mirror. You've been learning all along."
The next day, nothing had changed. Same path, same trees, same bucket. And yet, everything felt different. The leopard walked in silence, but this time, with peace. His steps were steady, his eyes soft, his breath sure. He no longer needed answers. The rhythm had become his own. Behind him, the master smiled quietly. The path had done its work. Discipline isn't something we force. It's something we become through quiet repetition, presence, and trust. It doesn't shout. It whispers, and in that whisper, we grow strong. So let me ask you, what are you quietly carrying right now? And who are you becoming? With each step, He wanted to be successful, but the master gave him an empty tube of bamboo. What happened next changed everything. One day, a young leopard came rushing into the Zen master's garden. His turquoise eyes burned with ambition.
Master, I want to be someone great. I want to rise above everyone. Please teach me the secret of success.
The Zen master looked up from tending his bonsai and smiled gently. He said nothing. Instead, he walked into his hut and returned holding a simple hollow bamboo tube. He handed it to the young leopard.
Carry this bamboo with you for the next 7 days. Then return to me.
Confused, the leopard accepted it.
That's it?
The master just bowed silently. As the leopard wandered through the forest and villages with the bamboo, he became restless.
How is this supposed to make me successful?
He passed merchants counting coins. He saw lions training to be warriors. He heard birds singing of fame. And there he was. Carrying a hollow stick, he felt foolish, but he kept going. He noticed something strange. Wherever he walked, the bamboo would collect sounds, wind, rain, whispers, music, silence. It carried everything, yet held onto nothing. After 7 days, he returned to the master. He placed the bamboo on the ground and said,
I still don't understand. What does this mean?
The Zen master picked up the bamboo and held it to his ear. Then he smiled.
This bamboo is empty. And because it is empty, it can carry music, wind, and water. It is useful because it is open.
He looked at the young leopard.
Success is not about how much you hold, but how much you can receive. If your mind is already full with ego, ambition, and noise, there's no space for wisdom, compassion, or purpose.
The leopard sat in silence, his tail wrapped gently around his paws, his ears twitched, and then he understood. The world tells us to collect, to compete, to climb. But Zen teaches us something different. True success is like the bamboo, strong yet flexible, grounded yet open. Its power lies in its emptiness. When we empty ourselves of pride and expectations, we become vessels for growth, connection, and true purpose. What could you achieve if you emptied your bamboo today? Sometimes we must first make space before we can receive new wisdom. This Zen story will show you the power of an open mind. One day, a curious young leopard traveled to a Zen master, deep in the mountains. He had read many books, studied countless ideas. He thought he understood the world, but still, something felt missing. When he arrived at the master's quiet tea house, he bowed respectfully and said,
Master, I have learned so much, yet I still seek wisdom. Please teach me the way of Zen.
The Zen master smiled gently and nodded. Instead of answering, he prepared a pot of tea. The little leopard watched as the master carefully heated the water, selected the finest leaves, and poured with slow, deliberate movements. He admired the ritual, but grew impatient, eager to hear the lesson. Finally, the master picked up the teapot and began pouring tea into the leopard's cup. The cup filled quickly, but the master continued to pour. The tea overflowed. It spilled onto the table, then onto the floor.
Master, the cup is full. No more will fit.
The Zen master stopped. He looked at him calmly and said,
Like this cup, your mind is already full of knowledge, full of opinions, full of assumptions. How can I teach you Zen if you do not first empty your cup?
The little leopard's ears twitched. His turquoise eyes widened. In that moment, he understood. To truly learn, he had to let go of what he thought he knew. Sometimes, our minds are too full to receive new wisdom. We hold on to beliefs, onto judgments, onto past experiences, and because of that, we leave no space for growth. But if we learn to empty our cup, to approach life with openness and humility, we create room for deeper understanding. He waited for his friend every morning, until one day, the chair stayed empty. This is a Zen story about loss, love, and the quiet presence that never leaves. Every morning, just after the sun rose behind the misty hills, the young leopard would sit in the garden with the old Zen master. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. The master would prepare tea with slow, mindful movements, and the leopard would listen to the silence. Sometimes the master would share a small thought.
The wind speaks only to those who are quiet inside.
The leopard didn't always understand, but he loved the calm, and he loved the presence of the old man beside him. One morning, the leopard arrived as usual, but the chair across from him was empty. He waited and waited. The tea cooled. The wind passed through the garden without a whisper. The master, he never came. The leopard's eyes filled with quiet tears, not loud, just still, like the way he had been taught. For days, the leopard returned to the same spot. He looked at the empty chair, and little by little, he remembered the way the master smiled without speaking, the rhythm of his breathing, the warmth of his silence. The chair was empty, but the space was full of lessons, full of presence, full of peace. One morning, much later, a small bird landed nearby. It was trembling, afraid. The leopard poured a second cup of tea, and for the first time, he smiled, not because he was no longer sad, but because he understood.
The master is gone, but his presence lives in how I sit, how I breathe, and how I love.
And from that day on, the chair was never truly empty again. Sometimes those we love don't leave us. They just become the silence that guides us from within. Have you ever said something in anger and wished you could take it back? Have you ever felt trapped inside your own reaction, like a storm rising before you could stop it? This is the story of a little leopard who thought strength meant to fight back, but learned a different kind of power, a power found in calm. One quiet morning, the young leopard sat by the monastery gate. His tail flicked, his breath was sharp.
I was doing so well, focused, calm, just like the master taught me.
But today, a monkey had stolen his fruit, a squirrel had mocked his size, and now his patience was wearing thin.
It's not fair. Why do they always test me? I can't take it anymore.
At that moment, the Zen master appeared. He stood beside the leopard, silent. The master didn't scold. He didn't explain. He simply waited. After a long pause, he spoke softly.
You feel the fire rising. That is natural, but you have a choice.
A choice to let them win?
No, a choice to not let them control your peace.
The leopard blinked, confused. He had never thought of it that way. Later, they walked together along a quiet path. The forest around them was still. The master led the leopard to a small pond. They sat by the water's edge.
Tell me, what do you see?
My reflection. But it's restless.
The master picked up a pebble and let it fall into the pond. Ripples spread across the surface.
And now?
The leopard watched as his reflection blurred.
I can't see myself clearly anymore.
Strong emotions are like these ripples. When you react immediately, the world becomes unclear. But if you wait, it settles.
The leopard sat quietly, watching the ripples fade. He felt his own breath slow with the water.
I want to be like that, still, even when things stir inside.
Days passed. The young leopard returned to the monastery garden. He knew what awaited him. The monkey was there, loud as ever, the squirrel, ready with his teasing grin. The leopard felt the familiar heat rising, but this time, he remembered the pond. He inhaled deeply, held the breath for a moment, and exhaled slowly. The monkey shouted. The leopard glanced at him, smiled softly, and walked on. The squirrel pointed, expecting a reaction, but the leopard's steps remained calm. From the shaded bench, the master watched.
You're not so small after all, when you carry peace inside.
That evening, the young leopard and the master walked side by side through the forest path. No words were needed. The air was calm. Each step felt steady, grounded. The leopard's ears twitched as he listened to the sounds of the forest, to the rhythm of his own breath.
I used to think being strong meant fighting back.
And what do you think now?
The leopard paused, looking up at the master.
Now I think strength is in choosing how I meet things. Not everything deserves my energy.
Very good. The world will always invite you to react, but true strength is choosing your own pace.
They continued walking in silence, but inside, the leopard felt different, lighter, wiser with every step. He was no longer pushed by the world. He was walking his own path. There will always be storms around you, loud voices, harsh words, unfair moments. But peace begins when you stop letting them inside. The power of not reacting isn't weakness, it's wisdom, it's freedom, it's strength. And it belongs to you. The next time the storm comes, how will you choose to respond? What if the secret to happiness was as simple as laughter? This ancient Zen story will change the way you see life. Far away in the mountains, there was a small monastery where a wise Zen master and his young leopard apprentice lived. One day, as they were meditating near a quiet stream, they heard laughter echoing through the valley, loud, deep, uncontrollable laughter. Curious, the leopard twitched his ears and turned to his master.
Who is laughing, Master?
The Zen master smiled.
Those must be the 3 laughing monks.
The young leopard tilted his head.
Who are they?
The master took a deep breath and said,
They travel from village to village, but unlike other monks, they don't teach through words. They teach through laughter.
The leopard was confused.
How can laughter be a teaching?
The Zen master simply smiled.
Come, let's find out.
And so they followed the sound of laughter down the mountain. As they reached a small village, they saw a crowd gathered in the marketplace. Right in the center stood 3 monks, all dressed in simple robes, their faces red from laughter. They laughed so hard that tears ran down their faces. They clutched their bellies. They could barely breathe. And the strange thing was, the more they laughed, the more the villagers began to smile. And then the smiles turned into chuckles, the chuckles into giggles. And soon the entire village was laughing. The young leopard blinked in surprise.
But why? What's the joke?
The Zen master chuckled softly.
There is no joke. They laugh because they understand something. Most people do not.
The young leopard's turquoise eyes widened.
What do they understand?
The Zen master looked at him and whispered.
That life is absurd.
The young leopard watched in awe as the monks continued to laugh. He noticed something. The villagers who had been arguing minutes before were now laughing together. The merchants who had been stressed about their sales had forgotten their worries. Everything had changed. In an instant, suddenly one of the 3 monks collapsed. He lay on the ground, motionless. The crowd fell silent. The young leopard gasped.
Master, is he gone?
The Zen master nodded.
It is his time.
But before the silence could settle in, the 2 remaining monks looked at each other, and then they burst into laughter. At first, the villagers were shocked, but then they understood. Slowly, the laughter returned. It grew louder, and soon, even the monk who had passed seemed to be smiling in eternal peace. The young leopard's heart pounded.
Master, why do they laugh? Shouldn't they mourn?
The Zen master smiled.
Because they know death is just another part of life. There is no need for sorrow, only gratitude for the time we have.
The young leopard closed his eyes, and for the first time in his life, he laughed. Life is full of absurdity. We stress, we worry, we fight. But in the end, none of it truly matters. What if, instead of holding on to pain, we simply laughed it away? Maybe, just maybe, the secret to happiness isn't in seeking something more, but in letting go. Sometimes the path we trust the most suddenly fades away, not to leave us lost, but to guide us toward something deeper within ourselves. The young leopard walked his usual trail through the forest, a path he had trusted many times before. Today, the trail was gone. No footprints marked the ground. No clear way forward. Only silence stretched between the trees.
Where did it go? Was it something I missed? Did I take a wrong turn? Was I careless or simply blind?
He turned in place, searching for answers. The forest remained still, unmoving, untouched.
Am I lost?
No sound, no guidance, only the quiet breathing of the earth beneath his paws. He moved through the forest, wandering from one direction to another, but every path looked the same. Moss-covered rocks, roots twisted through the ground, and mist blurred the distance.
Maybe there never was a path. Maybe it had only been a story I told myself to feel safe.
He climbed a small hill, hoping to see something familiar, but all he saw was mist and endless trees. Tired and heavy, he settled beneath an ancient tree whose roots curled deep into the earth.
Maybe I've been walking in circles. Maybe there's nowhere I'm supposed to go.
He closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of doubt wrap itself around his heart.
I just want to know where I belong.
But the world around him remained silent. From the depths of the mist, a figure appeared. An old monk, moving slowly and calmly, as if he carried the patience of 1,000 years. The leopard lifted his head, hope flickering quietly in his chest.
Do you know the way?
The monk smiled, full of warmth and understanding.
You are not lost. The path has not left you. It only hid itself so that you could learn to truly see.
The leopard looked again, not searching for signs carved into trees, not for beaten trails, but for something quieter, something deeper. And slowly, he began to see it, the openness between the trees, the subtle rhythm of the earth, the silent invitation to trust. Together, they walked forward. No path marked the way. No destination called them forward. Only the simple trust in each step. Sunlight slipped gently through the high branches. Long shadows stretched across the soft ground. The scent of pine, the rustle of leaves, the quiet heartbeat of the earth. All of it moved with them.
Maybe the past isn't about where I'm going. Maybe it's about how I walk and how I choose to see. Maybe the past was always within me.
The leopard smiled, not because he had found something new, but because he had discovered something that had been waiting inside him all along. The path may not always be visible. At times it may hide, it may confuse, it may even seem to disappear completely, but it is never truly gone. It waits patiently within us. For the moment, we are ready to trust it again. What if your true strength isn't visible at all? In this quiet Zen story, a young leopard learns that real success doesn't need to be seen. It only needs to be known. The young leopard loved applause. He would leap between rocks, race through trees, and balance perfectly on narrow branches. Animals clapped. Some cheered. He smiled wide. But at night, he felt something missing.
I want to be more than impressive. I want to be strong, truly strong.
The old Zen master didn't answer. He just began walking. And the leopard followed. They walked through forests, fields, and valleys. No one watched. No one clapped. The leopard grew restless.
Where are we going?
The master kept walking. They passed a massive tree struck by lightning, a mountain path carved by water, and finally, a quiet river. There, the master stopped. He pointed to a gray stone.
Pick it up.
The leopard struggled. The stone was heavier than it looked, but he lifted it. It was smooth, unshaped.
It doesn't shine.
No, it doesn't need to. This stone has held the mountain from below. It's never been seen, never been praised. But without it, everything above would collapse.
The leopard was quiet. His breath slowed. His eyes softened. They walked back. No applause. No audience, but something had changed. The leopard still leapt and danced, but he no longer needed to be watched. He felt something deeper now, not the thrill of being seen, but the quiet strength of being enough. The stone was still there, unmoving, unnoticed, and powerful, just like him. True strength is not built by proving yourself to the world. It is forged in patience, in silence, and in unseen moments. And one day, without seeking it, your stone will shine. The young leopard had never seen anything so shiny. It glittered like sunlight and whispered of treasure, power, success. But what he didn't know, what glitters, isn't always gold. This is a story of a little leopard, a golden bowl, and the quiet lesson of letting go. As morning light filtered through the ancient forest, the young leopard trotted beside his master. Suddenly, His turquoise eyes widened.
Master, look, what's that?
From beneath the roots of an old tree, a golden bowl gleamed. The leopard crouched down, gently pulling it free.
It's beautiful. Can I keep it?
He asked, tail curling in excitement. The master smiled, resting on his staff.
If you believe it will bring you joy, then take it.
The leopard hugged the bowl to his chest.
I'll take good care of it.
As they continued their walk, the sunlight danced on the golden surface. But unnoticed, a single leaf drifted quietly to the ground. Days passed. The leopard carried the bowl everywhere.
I must protect it.
He whispered, polishing it even as they climbed rocky paths. But each step grew heavier. His shoulders ached. His heart raced.
What if I drop it? What if someone steals it?
He lagged behind, ears drooping. The master walked ahead, calm and unbothered.
Master, why does something so precious make me so afraid?
But the only answer was the rustle of falling leaves. That evening, by a quiet stream, the leopard sat with the bowl in his lap. He gazed at his reflection in the golden surface, eyes tired, posture tense. The master knelt beside him.
You hold it like a treasure, yet you suffer.
I thought it would make me happy, but now it feels like I'm trapped.
The master smiled gently.
True treasures lighten your heart. Anything that weighs you down might not be treasure after all.
The leopard looked at the bowl again, this time differently. The next morning, the leopard approached the stream once more. He placed the golden bowl softly on a stone.
Thank you, but I'm done carrying you.
He straightened up, shoulders light, paws steady. As they walked on, his step was quicker. His tail swayed freely. The master watched with a knowing smile.
No lesson is heavier than the one we carry too long.
For the leopard, the forest seemed brighter, not because he had gained something, but because he had let go. In life, it's easy to mistake shine for value, but the things truly worth carrying are those that set you free. Sometimes the greatest treasure is the peace of an empty hand. Inside every one of us, two wolves are fighting. But which one wins? This ancient Zen story holds a powerful lesson about the choices we make every day. A young leopard sat beside his Zen master in a quiet mountain temple. The fire crackled softly, casting warm, flickering light onto the wooden walls. The leopard looked troubled.
Master, sometimes I feel torn inside. Some days I am patient and kind. Other days I am angry, jealous, or afraid. Why does this happen?
The Zen master closed his eyes for a moment, then spoke.
Inside every being, there are two wolves constantly fighting. One is full of love, kindness, patience, and wisdom. The other is filled with anger, envy, fear, and greed. They battle each other endlessly.
The leopard's ears twitched.
But Master, which wolf wins?
The Zen master opened his eyes, his gaze calm and steady. With a gentle smile, he replied,
"The one you choose to feed."
The young leopard's eyes widened. He understood. Every day we make choices. We decide which wolf we feed through our thoughts, our actions, and our emotions. If we focus on anger, jealousy, or fear, that wolf will grow stronger. But if we choose love, patience, and wisdom, the good wolf will win. The battle inside you is never over, but you have the power to choose. What wolf have you been feeding today?